OG.
What's up, everybody? PSN is down, and you know what that means. It is time for some content, and it is the start of another Showdown weekend in the current meta, the current gameplay. So, what better way to spend this time than to go over my initial review of UFL when I fell in love with the game, and wow, was I blown away at the difference. Just look at the difference in spacing. Look at the difference in the type of chances created and the goal scoring and the difference in opinion. I wish UFL would do something like this and start reversing, tracing their steps backwards, because this was a great time. It was fun. Were the animations perfect? Was anything perfect? No, but it was fine because the game was enjoyable and they started going down all the wrong paths. We know about all that stuff. I won't get into it, but just it's incredible to see just 1 month how mistakes can just totally change the course of a game. So let's get into some of these clips.
eFootball has their cult fans, and that's great. I'm not trying to knock another game. For the people who enjoy playing that, that's awesome. Good for you. For me and for many others, though, it just wasn't good enough to get us away from playing EAFC. So we stuck with EA Sports. And UFL comes and, you can't blame people for thinking it's just another Konami eFootball situation. It's not going to be able to beat EAFC. But then, here comes the early release. I want to give it a go. At the very least, give it a shot. Because I liked what I was seeing after the beta. Because the beta didn't get very good reviews, right? But then you start seeing some of these fixes, hearing from some of these content creators, and you had to decide if you trusted what they were saying or if you thought, well, they're getting paid to say that, maybe. They're supporting the game, they're getting these trips for free. You got to take what they say with a grain of salt. So at the very least, turn on the game and try it for yourself is where I was at. And I couldn't have been happier when I did.
Isn't that insane seeing how different of a game it was? I mean, you could actually play through gaps in the defense. You actually needed to use your defenders, not use the AI assistants. Look at that spacing. I mean, even right now, it's just brilliant stuff. And then, did you hear what I said? The good news about what I said, though, is that it is true. During the beta, there was a lot of mistakes. It was pretty similar to how the game is now, just not very good, not very good overall reviews. But by the time early release came out, the game was just totally new. They made so many changes and it was excellent, and I was pleasantly surprised. So who's to say they can't do that again? That's actually a good sign that I've mentioned before, but I haven't really been considering the fact that they did make a lot of big changes from beta to the early release. So let's just hope they can do that again, because look, this product was excellent. It was a great start. Bring it back to here and start rebuilding from this point. Let's hear some more.
So, for example, in EAFC, you're rewarded for not selecting your defenders. You are rewarded for letting your AI win the ball, for letting how clustered the players are allow you to win the ball because your opponent has nowhere to go. Hence why so many glitches are being abused in EA Sports EAFC, and so many mechanics are being abused because you can't even just simply pass or find holes to dribble through. So it leads you to that route, right? Whereas in UFL, immediately, you can create all these awesome passing sequences. There's all these great passing angles to try to get through. And then on defense, you have to try to move your defenders to block those passing lanes. You have to be ready to manually defend if you want to prevent a player from running through on goal, right? It creates a skill gap and it makes it fun. It creates a football gaming experience while also makes it exciting because spacing also means end-to-end action.
And what's crazy about this is that what I'm saying about FC is literally, if you didn't hear me say FC, you would think I was describing how UFL is currently. And it's just insane to me because UFL had to have done their homework and noticed these things too, right? Or were they that oblivious and didn't realize that they were going down the wrong path to a broken game that really what got them so much hype and so much praise was that they didn't do these things that they ended up going towards. It blows my mind. I wish I could see, be a fly on the wall in some of these meetings as they were making these decisions to get the game where it is now, right? Because all of these things that made me and many other players love UFL are pretty much gone now. It's not end-to-end action. It's the opposite mini games. It's one player trying to play while the other player sits back with his whole team in his box while you get 10, 12 shots on him, and he just hopes that the 1 or 2 shots he gets goes in. So you either end up with a 0-0 draw, or you might even end up with a 1-0 loss or a 1-1 tie, which is insanity. You aren't rewarded for your dominance, and it's just not fun. I'd much rather give up 6 shots on net and take 6 shots and have a back and forth fun game where there's skill defensively, there's skill in creating chances and scoring goals, where you can play any formation or setup that you want, because what spacing does is allow you to have different options to attack, as opposed to when there's a ton of players stacked in the box and it's very hard to even get chances, period. You are going to lean towards the most high percentage chance to score and know that you might only get 1 or 2 or a few of those, and you need to take advantage of them. So what formations lean towards those high percentage chance? Let's say it's snapshot. You aren't going to be using a wide system that favors crossing, especially after the last patch. Like, we won't even talk about how they ruined crosses and corners, which they needed to nerf. The L1 square and some of the corner kick stuff, but to totally just ruin crossing, right? I will say the taller players can still score on headers, but for instance, Ronaldo, fantastic at headers, but his height isn't what makes him great, it's his jumping. And they go in and they make height part of the change. I mean, stuff like that totally ruin the game. But using my example, say you're a cross-heavy team, no longer are you going to use a formation that's cross-heavy, because that's just not a viable way to score anymore. So it becomes, okay, snapshot is OP. There's 8 players in the box. I can no longer use my build-up and, for instance, play a through ball or play tiki-taka and kind of do the old Barcelona walk it into the net, essentially. Like, I need to get a snapshot, so I'm going to use this formation so I can get the ball here with my striker and shoot like this, because that's my only chance of scoring. It just minimizes the creativity. It minimizes the ability to create your own system and play how you want to play. And it starts to become, I need to play in this certain way because that's the only way I can beat a park the bus team, or try to even come close to beating a team that has 8 players in the box. It totally ruins the experience. And many players don't understand that. They'll say things like, it's just the way defending is. Learn to beat it. What's the big deal? Those players clearly don't have any skill defensively and love the fact that they can now compete in games without having that skill, right? Defense is absolutely part of football, and so the football simulation has to have at least some kind of skill in defending. It can't just be as easy as it is now. In the comment section you can read, nobody likes how the defensive setup is right now unless you're one of those players that is okay with competing without using skill. And in that sense, what's the point even? Because you're not doing anything. Anybody can hold R1 and have their AI chase and win the ball. That's not defending. And again, that's exactly what ruined FC. So it's not like what I'm saying isn't fact-based or backed by precedents, right? So it's just insane seeing that UFL had it right, and let's just hope. I've been saying this, but now seeing it makes me want the previous game back even more. So all we can do from here is just try to make our voice heard and let strikers know we want UFL back the way it was. Until then, keep grinding, keep having fun, and I will see you next time.